I met Chris at a rally against the government's digital ID legislation in Sydney on Sunday. Over 500 of us were at Speaker's Corner, dodging the last dregs of the marathon runners who were limping past us, gazing longingly at the lush fig trees and shaded corners where we were standing. Led by Craig Kelly and attended by friends of this show, libertarians John Ruddock and Ross Cameron, we spoke about government overreach, the urgent need for liberty, and the safety net of privacy which has long curbed the malevolent intentions of power-hungry leaders. Here is a short clip from Chris's speech.
Oh, hello, Australia. I've had an amazing welcome here, never minding the people with the purple and the pink hair at the universities. But for 3 years and 8 months, I have been on a mission to stop what I consider to be the greatest child abuse scandal in the history of modern medicine. The business of giving children puberty-blocking drugs, cross-sex hormones, the opposite sex's hormones, and they're doing surgeries on kids as well. They're cutting off the breasts of girls in Australia. Yes, shame is right. And we cannot tolerate a society that is doing this to our kids.
Yes, what is society doing to our children? I walk past several of Sydney's biggest universities on a regular basis. 5 years ago, they had little tables at the front trying to recruit people into environmentalism. Convert them into a sort of benign, one-world globalism. It was the hug the trees, feed the whales, the nations of the world just want to be friends in a sort of toddler-level politics. 2 years ago, after the COVID pandemic hysteria of begging for the government to keep them safe had ended, universities started putting out tables to sign people up to Marxism. Yes, bored, privileged, wealthy students sat beneath the banner of Marxism and signed their peers up to an ideology that enslaved entire civilizations last century. At university book fairs, these kids are super excited to hear more about what Leon Trotsky had to say. Universities even host official classes on how Marx is an anti-colonialist, and that's good. One abstract from the UTS Faculty of Law reads, and I quote, "The writer asserts that in a time of crisis and struggle for First Nations peoples, Marxist analysis of colonialism provides scholars and students with a mode of analysis to understand racism and struggle in settler colonies. The chapter argues that as capitalism struggles to provide answers for a range of socio-economic problems, including environmental harm, exploitation of labour across the world, poverty, pandemics and state violence, Marxism provides a material alternative. Marxism is a call to action to change society, and this shapes how my academic work continuously interacts with my advocacy and activism." End quote. What a lot of nonsense. The people who cancel great men, honourable men like Captain Cook, find their heroes in the worst figures of political history. Even on a personal level, Trotsky, for instance, was a disappointing human being when it came to how he treated others, sacrificing many relatives and friends to the Marxist cause. And there's that word again, the cause, a single political movement that overwhelms a person's humanity. That's why collectivism is so dangerous and why individualism, in the American liberty sense, changed the world. Trotsky didn't even like Marxism in the beginning, but was convinced to support the movement by his first wife. Born in 1872, she died in the Great Purges of 1938, along with 1 million people thanks to the communist leader, Joseph Stalin. Now that's how the left consolidate their political power. Not with kindness and hugs, but with murder, revolution, slave camps and starvation. And a side note to our university faculty sitting in their cosy, overpaid jobs, the collectivists came for the teachers and educated class first. They were the ones at the front of the queue in the gulags. Western university lecturers tried to con our children with a slightly softer and more spiritual sounding Marxism. They pretended that Marxism was a kinder version of communism, that it possessed the true soul of rebellion against this evil capitalism. The same capitalism that built the university, pays the teachers, pays their parents, put the clothes on their back and the iPhone in their hand. Now, this year, or at this very moment, the tables for Marxism are gone. The uni kids have gone full hardcore. They have posters plastered all through the university quarter why the Communist Manifesto matters today. The Reds aren't under the bed. Their big red caps lock letters are out and proud in the CBD. This is communism, not Marxism. And shortly after the accident on the submersible known as the Titan, where the crew and their paid guests all sadly perished en route to view the Titanic, the Be Kind class of left-wing activists stuck up posters using the CEO of Amazon, a picture of the Titan and the words, "Send them to space or the ocean floor. We need to get rid of billionaires." That's a threat. That's a desire to see another class of citizen killed, not only gone, but dead. Otherwise, why the reference to fatal tragedies? And it's not only the universities. Anti-colonialism manifests in many ways, but especially in race-fueled politics by a $40 billion a year machine that seems to benefit everyone except remote Indigenous communities. Black activism, that is BLAK, has risen as a major corner of Marxist and communist power. We imported a variation of the Black Lives Matter movement in the US, which idolises criminals and behaves in a criminal manner itself. Who can forget city blocks being taken hostage, camps full of squalor forming, the burning of private and public buildings, the toppling of statues, race-segregated vegetable gardens, which, all died, and the aggressive anti-white messages scrawled across the roads and buildings of the West? Instead of looking on in horror, this movement has survived, where businesses and institutions, no doubt terrified of being branded as evil capitalists, have latched onto the activist events as a way to make money. You can't even walk down the footpath without tripping over race politics. And if you don't trip over race politics, you'll certainly trip over the e-bikes left discarded on the virtuous footpaths outside the university as rubbish. Although it is a perfect representation of how political activism plays out in the real world, the best of intentions do nothing but create more mess and more crap.